This sound making a video for Ajax Advantage. Our HUDs provide a massive amount of information, more information than you hope to utilize, so it's important to prioritize information and practice accessing and interpreting that information. Today's video will cover range graphs. Our HUDs have hundreds of range graphs covering almost every situation. Range graphs can be divided into two groups, showdown and non-showdown. You have to be careful with non-showdown range graphs because so many hands don't make it to showdown. Pre-flop, the hand heat charts won't reflect folded hands. Post-flop, the pie charts will show folded hands as implicit weakness and hands that won without showdown as implicit strength. To find range graphs, you simply want to go to the pop-up that covers that spot. For example, if you wanted to find 3-bet range versus a button open, you would just hover over the out of position 3-bet stat. Hover over the description and you'll get that hand heat chart. Here I'm trying to get a read if they merge or polarize their ranges, and if they polarize, what hands do they like to use. Bluffing hands are less likely to make it a showdown and will be underrepresented. I'm looking for range clusters to see what hands they like to use. This will help me with estimating combos post-flop. Post-flop, to find the range graph, identify the stat that reflects the pre-flop action and the street. For example, turn stab out of position versus a missed flop c-bet when the pre-flop action was single raise pot. The player was the pre-flop caller, and it was a single raise pot, so all turn play range graphs for this pre-flop action can be found in the fold versus turn c-bet pop-up. I chose this screenshot because it's a great example of where a range graph will show very useful information despite many hands not making it to showdown. In pie graphs, green represents bluffs, red and orange value, yellow thin value, and blue combo draws. To interpret the pie graph, I estimate what portion of the pie is green. Here we can see that 2/3 of the pie is green. Of 20 known hands, 10 were implicit weakness, 3 air, 1 ace high. The air and ace highs are known because those hands ended up being shown down. The 10 implicit weakness hands are mostly turn stab folds and river check folds. Of course, some of those hands may be value folds. With this information, I'd float wider than usual, as light as 2 overs or a gut shot, and bet versus the river check. You can also use the sizing scatter to refine your read. Here we can see there is a correlation between bet size and hand strength, with the plots in the upper right representing higher value and larger bet sizes, and the plots in the lower left representing light values or bluffs and smaller bet sizing. While non-showdown range graphs can provide some very useful information, it is best to focus on showdown range graphs first. Showdown range graphs are primarily bet river or river raise. I also put 5-bet range graphs under the showdown category. I usually go to the bet river pop-up to look at general range construction. If I have enough hands, I'll go to the triple barrel pop-up to find the ranges of specific lines. This is the bet river pop-up. We have known river betting ranges by river pot size along with all-in data based on sizing. We also have known river raising range. Spark graphs are a little bit more difficult to read than pie graphs, but they are quicker. Early on, you'll want to look a lot at the pie graphs. I mostly go to the pie graphs when the spark graph information isn't clear. The smallest spark represents a single hand. If a spark is wider or taller, it represents 2 or more hands. The wider or taller the spark, the more hands it represents. You don't need an exact count. An estimate is fine. Sparks in the green should be seen as bluffs, red, high value, and blacks more to the left are either bluffs or light value, and blacks more to the right are thin or decent value. To bluff catch, I'm just estimating if 1/3 or more of the sparks are in the green. If my hand can beat some thin value, I'll add in any black sparks that are on the left. There are 4 main patterns with spark graphs: polarized, value heavy, merged, and balanced. This is an example of polarized. A significant number of sparks are in the green, with the remaining value sparks being to the far right of the black and in the red. This is an example of a very value heavy spark graph, with most of the sparks being to the right side of the black and in the red. This I would consider more merged, with many of the sparks throughout the black portion. This I would describe as balanced, with the sparks evenly distributed. When the pattern is polarized or value heavy, there's really no need to waste time with the pie graphs. It's an easy decision. When it's merged or balanced, then I go to the pie chart. I'm looking for roughly 1/3 of the pie to be green in order to bluff catch, and if my hand can beat some thin value, I'll add in the yellow. The more green I see, the more willing I am to bluff catch. With this pie graph, I would be a bit hesitant to bluff catch with a pure bluff catcher. Ideally, I like to beat a little bit of their value range. If I have a larger sample size, I'll check out their range graphs with specific lines. Here's the triple barrel pop-up, which also shows the replayer. To get the replayer, just click the replay button. These are pretty easy to learn to read and can provide valuable information in tough spots. Be careful not to overuse this information. A general bluffing frequency needs to take into account previous actions. Remember, quality poker first. If their line is one that is unlikely to have a reasonable bluffing range, adjust your range graph reads. I use range graphs only in spots where I feel the decision is somewhat close. If I feel it's a clear fold, I fold. I don't go searching for an excuse to make a bad play. I see a lot of my private coaching clients making this mistake. Don't fall into that trap. This is Alan for Ajax and Advantage. If you have any suggestions for future videos, let me know. Good luck out there, guys.